Cool. Hey guys, my first tutorial. Hope you like it. Let me know what you think. While we're stuck in quarantine, I thought we'd go through one of my images, kind of show you my process of editing. First thing we're going to do is bring up the exposure, boost that contrast. We want to bring out the highlights, but we want the darks to be a little bit darker on this. So we're going to pull down the highlights. I think I like that level there. Let's play with the shadows. We're going to bring it down a little bit. And we want the darks to be pretty dark here. Boost the whites so that it starts to pop, you know? Bring the blacks down. Let's just boost the clarity a little bit. I like to keep this fairly low, bring the dehaze up a little bit so we can bring a little bit more of the detail back. Next thing I do is enable lens correction so it accounts for any natural vignette. And with the tone curve, pretty standard S-curve. We're going to bring down the darks, we're going to boost up those mid-tones just to kind of where they were, and we're going to boost up the highlights a tiny bit there. And we're going to go through every color here. We're going to do red. We're going to be doing the same thing. Bringing down the shadows, keeping the mids, and boosting the lights for the reds, the greens, and the blues there. I don't know why I do this. I just like how the colors look at the end. I do it for most of my images. Really helps things pop a little bit there. With this image, you'll obviously see blues kind of like the underlying tone and color, so we're gonna stick with, accentuating the blues. This is kind of the second part of your tone curve you can adjust. A lot of people kind of forget about this one. We're bringing up the highlights, down the lights, down the darks, boost the shadows a little bit. Now with my blues, I like to make it a little bit more teal. So we're going to slide that a little bit to the left, bring it to about -10. You can mess with the saturation a little bit. I like to maybe boost it on this one. Normally I bring down the saturation of the blues, but I like how it looks here. We're going to bring the luminescence up for the blues, make that image pop. So now we're going to do some of the finer tools. We're going to use the brush tool here. Right now I'm setting to darken. I like to keep my flow halfway, around 50, so that I have to go over things twice to get the full amount of how I've selected it. You'll see my warmth is up a little bit right now. That was a mistake. We're just going to erase it. So we're going to start darkening around the ridge line where the shadows are, just to add a little bit more of a dramatic effect to this image. It's all in the small details. A lot of small details here are really going to help the image pop. Perfect. Alright, starting to look good. We're going to get rid of accidentally made a little bit warm there. There we go. Brighten a few of the highlights here. This is great. It's starting to really come together. Right. Next thing I'm going to do is check everything is how it is. Accidentally left the temp up for a few there. We want it to be more blue than yellow. Let's reset that to darken it just a little bit. Make it slightly more dramatic there. We're going to use the adjustment tool one more time coming up, but for now, let's sharpen this image a little bit. I like to use the masking tool so it doesn't sharpen everything in an image. You can kind of select what you want to be sharpened. I still want it to look real, you know? And the masking tool is great for that. A little bit more of a selective sharpen. Yeah, I like how that looks. I just wanted to sharpen, make those trees kind of pop, make the ridges pop. And we're just going to bring up the noise reduction just to really clean it up that extra little bit. Now we're going to reset the sliders here and use the clarity tool just to make it pop around the trees, along the upper ridge lines of the mountain there. That's where I want people's eyes to land. So there we go. And pretty much for one of the last things I want to do is I just want to darken that lower region. Doesn't have much going on. I don't want to attract people's eyes there. So I'm just going to darken it up a little bit. I like how the image kind of goes from super bright to dark at the bottom, so it flows well. Go, just change the angle a little bit, bring it up, mess around with it. Let's see. Awesome. Yeah, liking how that looks. And I'm pretty stoked with how that turned out. So there's the before, there's the after. Obviously quite dramatic. We're just accentuating what's already there. We're adjusting the blues, we're adjusting the shadows and the blacks, boosting the highlights and the whites a little bit, and that's what we have. So, anyways, I hope this helps. This is how I like to edit just one of my images, and yeah, this is the first time I've done this, so maybe I'll do it more.